Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Blue Jays Today, where your boys, we always got something to say about the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Blaylock. And today, folks, we are going to be giving some wild predictions for this 2024 season. Adam, he's coming with 3. I'm coming with 3. I have no idea what it is that he is bringing to the table, so he's going to have to give me a few reasons as to why his wild takes are going to happen in 2024, and same with me.
No, they're happening.
Okay, cool, man. I might push back a little bit, but I assume you have your
It'll
reasons.
happen.
So
It'll happen. I'm just saying right now, guys, it's happening. All right. All right.
Let us know in the comments down below, folks, what do you think about all of these predictions, and give us a few from yourself. Let's get into the first one, everybody. I'll kick this thing off here. I want to talk about one of the cornerstones of the team. I want to talk about Bichette. There was a few different ways that I could go about this, because I think that we all assume that he's going to have a great season, but I'm going to say that he's going to do something that he's never actually done before, but he is fully capable of doing, and that is he's going to eclipse 200 hits in 2024. Now, the most hits that he's ever had before is 191, folks. Last year, he had 175, and he still batted .306. So do the math, right? If he's getting 200 hits, we're talking about a dude who's probably going to be hitting 320, 325, something like that. But I was looking at Bo, and I mean, for starters, the guy just drills all pitches. Go over to the Baseball Savant page for a second. There really isn't anything that he can't hit, and his expected batting average at 312 was higher than his actual batting average at 306.
Yeah. Dude, I don't think this is actually that wild. I'm going to be honest. I think this is pretty doable. He got hurt last year, and that really stinted him a lot. When he came back, he wasn't himself. I'm actually going to agree. I can't even push back at all. I'm going to agree with you. I think it's in his realm to get 200 hits.
Yeah.
And I think he's getting better with his age.
Well, that's kind of what I was going to say, right? Like, the fact of the matter is, the guy's 26 right now. And you got to think about it from his perspective, okay? The whole conversations recently, anyways, have been, okay, well, Vladdy's got his arbitration. When is Vladdy going to get his extension? If Vladdy puts up a big year, then Vladdy's going to get paid $250, $300 million by the Toronto Blue Jays. Where does that leave Bo Bichette? I think that Bo right now understands that, he's got to show everybody that, he also could potentially deserve to be the Toronto Blue Jays guy this year. He's coming off of an incredible year last year, and he's also kind of setting himself up and showing the league right now that, hey, guys, I am this guy over here in Toronto. I could also be on the cover of MLB The Show.
He could. Look, I think it's right in his realm. Dude, he's going to do it. If you've seen him so far in spring training, this guy looks like he hasn't missed a single beat.
That's what
he's consistent as all holy hell. 200 hits, he's going to get it. It's not a matter of if he's going to get it, it's a matter of when he's going to get it.
That's the thing. I think at some point in his career, it's going to happen. I'm saying it's this year. Last year, folks, just to put in perspective the level of competition, there was only 3 people who got over 200 hits. Ronald Acuna Jr., Freddie Freeman, and Luis Arias. All people that were in the MVP conversation. Luis Arias had a frickin' 350 batting average at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is going to take a lot. But I think he's capable of
He
doing
was on pace to beat Luis Arias at one point before his injury. So, There you go.
Yeah, all right. So that's my first one, man. Bo Bichette, 200 hits. What do you got for me?
Yeah, I got a good one here. You guys are going to love this, and I know you're going to push back a lot on this. Daulton Varsho will lead the Toronto Blue Jays in WAR, according to Baseball Reference, with a 6.5 WAR.
6.5.
6.5 WAR.
Daulton Varsho.
Yeah, and here's my reasoning, guys. Okay. Last year, just to put in perspective of where he landed amongst the Toronto Blue Jays, he was 3rd in WAR according to Baseball Reference, right behind who we just talked about, Bo Bichette, and no longer Matt Chapman. And you look at his WAR, it's only 3.9. And he had a not so good offensive year. You look at the OPS, 674, not good at all, but he still managed to almost eclipse a 4 WAR. If we go down and we find what he did in Arizona, which, if I can actually find it here, I think it was a 2.8 offensive WAR. Right over, where is it? There we go, 2.9 in Arizona, okay? And if you look at his defensive WAR last year, 2.8. Okay, I don't think he's going to get much better. I don't know if he's getting much worse. Let's say we can guess around a 2.8. But if he goes and does what he did in Arizona, okay, now we're looking like we're getting close to that 6 mark. However, when you look at Arizona and where he was hitting, right? How many runs he drove in? This dude only drove in 74 RBIs. if the Toronto Blue Jays are going to have a breakout from Daulton Varsho, he's going to be put right behind Justin Turner in that 5 spot if he bounces back offensively. He's been working a lot on a lot of things, doing the chopping the wood strategy, not trying to lift the fly balls. He's trying to hit the ball more. If he's the best option as a lefty for the Toronto Blue Jays, he will hit right behind Justin Turner in that number 5 spot. And if he can stay up there for the majority of the year, he will drive in a lot more runs. He'll get a lot more base hits. And then paired with that great defense, this guy could eclipse a 6. I'm saying he's going to get 6.5. He's going to lead the Toronto Blue Jays.
Well, I feel like, again, like I think the defense is kind of a given here. Like I think you could, just from a WAR standpoint, I feel like you kind of have a floor of like 2 WAR just from the defense alone from Daulton Varsho because he's so incredible. So, I mean, I do think that he'll be up there in WAR just because of that. But I think that, you know, to go to 6.5, like that's when you start getting into the MVP conversation. And I think that you're now looking at a player who has probably an OPS like around the 800 mark at minimum, probably higher than that.
I think he could get it if he gets like an 820 OPS.
I think that's what it requires. That is what if he had an 820 OPS, if he was, you know, closing in on that 30 home run mark, then I think he's looking at 6.5. I mean, I think it's possible, and it is within the range of outcomes here. I don't know if I don't know if I can fully buy in on it just because, again, like offensively speaking, he's never done that before, and last year was one of the worst. I think that there's going to be a bounce back. I think that's a little bit too rich for me, but I do think there'll be a bounce back.
That's why it's bold, right? And look, a lot of things have to go right. And I brought up the new chopping of the wood strategy. I mean, he's really looking to switch things up if it works. Like he's got to hit a few bombs. He's got to run into a few to like kind of raise that offensive WAR a little bit. But the big thing for me is like he's got to be able to produce runs, right, and hit for a higher average. If he can increase those things and be in that prime driving and run area in the Toronto Blue Jays lineup, it's doable for me.
You know, it's also too like not to push back on your RBI situation, but if he was doing that good, if he actually was doing that good, I could see a reality where somehow he finds himself in the top 3 just because, again, he's a lefty.
I think you'd have to get on base a lot more for me to go up there. If he's getting on base at a really high clip,
if he's getting 820 OPS, he's probably doing pretty good.
Right. You know, like we'll see how it kind of plays out. Like it all depends on how those top 3 guys are doing, for sure.
Yeah. But then again, right, then the WAR's coming. Well, he's scoring a bunch of runs. Maybe he's stealing bases if he's up there too.
So and that's
that could be a different thing.
We do a new? Does John Schneider send him a lot more? Because he has the capability of stealing 20 bags. Well, he could be a 20-20 player easily.
I'll tell you right now, I was thinking about doing a bold prediction for Daulton Varsho on stolen bases.
Right.
Because, again, that was something that the Toronto Blue Jays, we never really did last year at all. And I think even in spring training, you're seeing it right now. They are sending them a lot more. Because, I mean, like, whatever. You get thrown out, no big deal. Spring training. And I think that this is just part of the strategy moving forward. Like, hey, guys, like we do have some youth on this team. We got some speed. Let's freaking try it out.
Absolutely. All right, let's hear your next one, bro.
All right.
Pretty bold.
Well, speaking of potential offensive breakouts, we had one last year, but it was a small sample size. Davis Schneider. Now, Davis Schneider is a kind of a hot topic right now because there's a bunch of people in the camp of this guy deserves to be here and he could have a really great season build on last year. And then there's a bunch of other people going, I mean, like this guy's not major league capable. Did you see what he did in September? It wasn't there. And it really was the tale of 2 players. Like August, this guy was MVP, the best player that we've ever freaking seen. And then September, not so much. I am saying that I'm going to go on the camp of people saying that he is going to break out. I'm saying that he's going to break out in such a big way that he hits 30 home runs this year for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Oh, yeah.
Last season, he was on pace, and again, a very small sample size. The guy only played in, I think, 35 games, but he was on pace to hit 37, 38 home runs last year with what he was doing. Now, most of that damage was obviously done in August. And then September rolled around, and it felt like the league adjusted, or, he started getting his head a little bit, and it just didn't work out for him.
Yeah.
I've been hearing a lot of Davis Schneider interviews so far this spring. I don't know if you've heard this guy speak, but, like, his mentality, his mindset is so fucking good. I think that he is so, I don't want to say nonchalant, because nonchalant means that, like, or gives off the vibe that he's lazy, which I don't think that he is. But I think that he's, like, so chill, and he was talking about Brandon Belt coming to him and talking to him right as the offseason started and effectively he gave him some advice saying, hey kid, like, don't change your approach. It was working. You stick with that. I know it wasn't working in September, but stick with it. And Davis Schneider was like, all right, it's true. I guess I'll stick with it then. And it feels like he's just the type of guy that can withstand 162 games of endurance, not only with the body, but also with the mind. And speaking of the body, he's coming in. He's looking pretty freaking jacked. So I'm all over the Davis Schneider, dude.
Yeah, 30 home runs. I mean, hell, I'm on the Davis Schneider train too. 30 home runs is a lot just because we've never seen it. And if this guy actually hit 30 home runs, we're looking at a middle of the lineup guy. Like screw Daulton Varsho, right? It's Davis Schneider batting in the fifth spot,
He's the 5 guy now.
Right, exactly. But he could be, if he does break out and you do want to go lefty, righty in the bottom part of the lineup, then he'd be the best number 6 hitter, like possibly in the league, hitting 30 home runs, right? It is bold because, again, we got to see a full season, and that's September. That's September. People made the adjustment. You're talking about the adjustments they made to him. They were starting to throw the high heater, and yes, he did readjust to it and was hitting it. But then there was other times where he wasn't, and that became his Achilles heel. He did run into a few in September, but we got to see it over a full 162. That's why it's kind of bold because we don't know.
Speaking of the heater, this is where I'll finish things off. Just go over to the Baseball Savant real quick, and then fly down to go scroll up. You missed it.
Yeah.
That right there. Yeah. So you're looking at all the pitches right here. First off, there's really not one singular pitch that this guy struggled with.
He sucks at the curve. Yeah, -1 run value.
Darn, I don't know how many people are annihilating the curveball, but either way, look at that slugging on the 4-seam fastball.
That's huge.
That's what I think really sold me on this is when you get these young players coming up to the league, and we talk about it all the time. What is the one thing that you need to do? Annihilate the fastball. Yeah. And he was annihilating it last year. So that's what kind of sold me that this guy's a power hitter.
Right.
And I think that he could go for 30 this season if again he stays healthy and keeps the mindset that he's got right now.
I think the big sign is, can he hit the high heat? Because that's what people were going to try and get him out. If he can hit the high heat and continue to hit it, then where are you going to pitch to him? I guess you got to throw him a lot more curveballs. You got to give him the Vladdy treatment.
Yeah.
All right.
What do you got?
All right, next one, guys. What is? Oh yeah, this one's a good one. So, Blue Jays rotation been relatively healthy over the last few years. I think this year there's going to be an injury or two, and this guy is going to get an opportunity to pitch in the rotation and get a lot of looks. I mean, we're already experiencing some injuries so far in spring training. The guy I'm talking about is Bowden Francis. And Bowden Francis, I think, could sneakily become one of the best pitchers in this Blue Jay staff. I think he's going to finish as a top 10 Cy Young finalist this year. Bowden Francis.
Top 10 Cy Young for Bowden.
That's right, baby.
Oh, baby.
That's right. I told you they were
man.
Man. I told you they were Bowden. And look, we obviously don't have much sample size to go off of, just like we don't have much sample size to go off of a Davis Schneider. Bowden Francis, in his limited time playing for the Blue Jays last year, was phenomenal, coming out of a long job in the bullpen, right? I think he's going to get his looks. He's impressing at camp. I think it's undeniable at this point he will start games for the Toronto Blue Jays. It's just a matter of when will he get those starts for the Toronto Blue Jays. I think it's going to happen early on with some injuries to already Alek Manoah, maybe Kevin Gosselin misses a few starts. He's going to get those jobs early on, and then eventually he's going to continue on. And if you look at right now the Cy Young finalists from last year, I'm going to bring this up at my next point, but the Cy Young finalists for last year, you look at the guys that he's around, well, what does he got to do? Yes, he's got to get up there in the innings pitch, so I think early on he's got to get out of the gate. But if he can get out of the gate and pitch for a mid-3 ERA with some good lower whip, I think he's got a good chance. The opportunity has to arise, obviously, but I do think that the other shoe's going to drop for the Toronto Blue Jays, and we're not going to stay healthy all year, and he's right there ready to go out of the camp. Right? Yoel Rodriguez, we talk about being a guy who can come up and pitch. We talk about Ricky Tiedemann. This guy's ready to go. So there's no reason why he wouldn't be the next man up and fill in the shoes. I think he's going to be top 10 for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Here's my pushback here. Yeah, because I think that for me, I'm not saying that he can't necessarily have a 3.5 ERA or anything like that. I just don't know if he's actually, one, going to get the opportunities, and two, capable to go for 100, because what's the minimum here? 165 innings? Is he ever done that?
Let's see in the minors. No, you're right. Let's check out what he did. If this thing will ever load.
Yeah, unless the alternative here is, this guy puts up a 1.7 ERA out of the bullpen or something.
Right.
So he did in 2021, he had 132 innings.
Right.
And then previously, in 2019, he was at 142. So, he's been kind of close. It has been a while.
And he's 28 right now.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, look, can he add 20, 25, 30 more innings? If he gets the opportunity. That's all it comes down to, right?
It's fucking bold for a reason, man.
That's why it's bold. If he gets the chance, he's getting it, man. He's top 10. Look, Chris Bassett was top 10. last year. And
Well,
that kind of, deservingly so.
Yeah.
But, like, there you go, right? Like, you can get it done if you can pitch quality innings and give quality innings. That's it.
For this to even be remotely close to happening, and I'll be completely honest, this is not happening. Okay, I'm gonna say it right
It's bold,
here.
baby.
Yeah, but for even this to be remotely close to happening, Alek Manoah needs to be hurt immediately.
Exactly.
Or like he comes out and just like doesn't look like himself at all. And like
Right.
Bowden France, like he's up here in like mid-April. Like
Right.
it's got to be like we are on the team, and he comes out the gate like boom, like it's like whoa, 6 inning. No earned runs. Francis, what?
Yeah, yeah.
Shuts down the Yankees. What?
I could see Francis doing April, like spotting starts coming up, and then May, if there's injuries or like clear, like, okay, well, we can't take him out of the rotation.
Right,
He's just
right.
dominating. They send Manoah to AAA, and then Bowden Francis comes and starts for 5 months.
That would have to be what it is.
That's what it has to be.
That has to be what
And
it
I'm
is.
kind of banking on that. That's it.
Look,
and I think it's going to happen.
I'm not going to go as far as to say that this guy's going to be like top 10 in Cy Young, but I do want to just impart upon everybody, hop on the Francis train
Yes.
right now, folks.
That's what this is, right?
Everything out of camp about this kid has been phenomenal.
And he's
so far.
adding the splitter, bro.
Yeah. Just
saying.
another weapon.
He's bros with Kevin Gosman. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Get some of that Kevin Gosman intellect into your pitching. I'm just saying.
All right, let's move on to mine. I don't know if mine's even that hot, this last one especially, but like I'm still gonna ride with it because I believe in it. I trust in it. Danny Jansen, All-Star season loading right now, folks. It is.
I believe it.
It's
actually
loading.
believe it.
It's
Yeah.
fully loading, guys. We're talking about a contract year. Can you flash over to all the catchers in the American League? I had it up there. This is the fantasy rankings, right? So it's whatever, but you just get a sense of like there is a lot of good players in the American League at the catching position. Obviously, like Houston's got a guy. Adley Rutschman is obviously incredible. I mean, Texas has a guy. Bo Naylor could break out. There is a lot of players out here that are really good at the catching position in the American League. It is not going to be an easy road at all. Danny Jansen has never been an all-star in his career. And to become an all-star for the first half of the season, you need to be healthy. You cannot be injured for, 2 or 3 weeks because, boom, you're out of the race. Somebody else is going to surpass you. You have got to be healthy, and you've got to be performing. I believe Danny Jansen when he says, because he was actually mid-game, they're doing one of those mid-game interviews, I believe him when he says, I am in the best shape of my life. I know that's a cliche and everything. Oh, that's the best shape of your life, spring. But I do believe him that he is in the best shape of his life right now, considering especially this is a contract season.
Right.
Jansen knows he's got to put up this year if he wants to get paid, not only just by the Toronto Blue Jays, but by anyone in this league. The best way to do that, go on the biggest stage, show the league that not only are you a stud defensively speaking, which is kind of out already, everyone knows that, but that you can swing that thing.
All right, okay. So I'll say this: I do think Danny Jansen's gonna have a great year. I think he will have an all-star year if he's healthy, and that's obviously the big question. But here's the thing about being an all-star: there's only 2 catcher spots.
Oh, I know.
Okay,
I know.
one will be Adley Rutschman. There's no denying. Even if Adley has a okay start, like for Adley Rutschman standards, he's still getting it. He's Adley Rutschman, right? The MLB and the fan base wants him to be an all-star. However, he's got to fight Jonah Heim. He's got to fight the Houston's guy, Yanni or Diaz, right? He's a young guy. He could come out and break out. He looks like very promising.
Yeah.
So Danny's got to be the guy to break out. The one thing Danny has, yes, he's got the great bat, but he's also got Canada behind him. So I will say that. That's
too,
it.
Yeah.
He's got to be voted in heavy. So Danny, right out of the gate, has got to be swinging it. Bro.
If Danny Jansen has like one of those Danny Jansen months, between April, May, mid-June, like if he has one of those Danny Jansen months where it's like every other game, bomb. And we've seen this before, right? Like this has happened. I could see a legitimate reality where Danny Jansen is walking into the All-Star break and he's already at like 15 home runs by this point. And people are, like, what do you, of course you got to do this, right? Because this is what this guy does. He annihilates the baseball. I think that if Danny Jansen is, over 800, 820 OPS by the time the voting starts, he's a lock, and that I think that's what he's gonna do, man. I think that's what's gonna happen. Dirty hands.
Yeah, stay healthy. Don't get hurt with those hands. Literally stop getting hurt. I said it before, and I'm like not even joking. Like, wear a metal plate over your hands.
Well, do something, dude.
Like,
Yeah.
dude,
I mean,
do
obviously,
something.
it's not your fault that you're getting drilled by any stretch of the imagination. Like, because I don't even think this guy really crabs the plate too much. But like, it is your fault that you're not wearing batting gloves.
Yeah,
So do something about it.
Facts. All right, last one here, guys. Time for a quick shout out to Betway. Betway is the best place to make all of your sports bets on all of your favorite teams. Betway is also in collaboration with iGaming Ontario. Must be 19 years older to participate. And guys, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content. Another bold prediction. This one is also in regards to Cy Young voting, and it's that the Blue Jays will have 2 pitchers in the top 3 of the Cy Young voting this year. Obviously, one is Kevin Gausman.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's no argument there. I'm not even going to argue that. I think we all know how great Kevin Gausman is.
Well, for this bold prediction to be real, that's got to happen.
That's got to happen. So I'm already banking on that. Number 2, though, it's going to be Jose Berrios. Jose Berrios will finish in the top 3 with Kevin Gausman. We will have, obviously, the best rotation in baseball if that happens.
Yes, of course.
But here's the reason why. You go back to wild card, okay? He gets pulled from the game. I mentioned this on the podcast the other day. He had something to prove this offseason. He's made some adjustments. He's added the cutter to try to get out the lefties. The whole reason why he got pulled is because he didn't fare so well against the lefties. They almost had an 800 OPS against him last year. Most of the damage was given up against the lefties. He's actively adding to his game to get left-handed batters out. And the entire career of Jose Berrios, he's been fairly good, right? I mean, you see the consistency over the entire career in the mid-3s. And again, looking back at what are those Cy Young voting, right? You see the guys up there, and it's guys that are chilling. Like, they're chilling in the mid-3s. That's where Jose Berrios has been for the majority of his career. He can give you the innings. There's no problem. Like, Bowden Francis, like, what are the innings? He can give you the innings. He can go get guys out. It's just, can we get up to this upper echelons where it's like, oh, now we're pitching for a lower ERA and dominating over the entire season. He can dominate over the entire season. Can he get left-handed batters out? He's already looked good this spring so far. I really don't think that there is... like, literally, it's just getting out the lefties. If he can get out the lefties here, which is right, this is the stat, no problem.
Can you go to his like whole career stats? I just want to know, like, has he ever been in like the top 10 before? I think he probably has, like, Cy Young wise, but like, when was the last time that he was like kind of getting voted for?
He was Cy Young 9
back to back 20 or that was just 2021. Excuse me, just 2021. So right, Cy Young 9.
And you look at those numbers in 2021. Oh, okay, no, he got traded. It was just Cy Young 9 when he got traded. Yeah, I mean, look, he pitched 192 innings and it was good. Right, but can he get to that next level? I think the next level is what we're looking for. Is can he defeat the lefties? Well, that's it for me.
To be in the top 3 of Cy Young, not only do you need to have 192 innings, like closing in on 200 innings, but you also you gotta be pitching for like a high 2, low 3 ERA. Yeah, like, that's where you gotta be, and that's when you're taking that next step from I am a very solid rotational guy to I am one of the best aces in the entire MLB. You do not want to face me because you might get 1 run if you're lucky.
Yeah, dude. Like, for me, it's very simple, right? There's the only factor you got to do, and I'm gonna make it sound so much easier said than done. Yeah. But like, because he dominates the righties. Righties don't have a chance against him. That's Lerv wipeout against the righties. He's got to be able to find a way to get lefties out. And I think he's determined enough at age only 30 now. He's had a long career. Yeah. Age 30, I think he's going to find a way to make that mid-career adjustment to be one of the better pitchers of the MLB.
It does feel like, especially for pitchers, like around the like 29, 30, and this isn't true for everybody, but I think that like a lot of the times it's one of those positions where it does take you a while to one, figure out who you are as a pitcher, but to really just understand like everything about the game, right? Like your sequencing, like just everything. When you're in this situation, how do I attack this hitter? How, what do I do here? And just getting all that real life experience. It feels like when you do turn 29, 30, 31, that's almost when you get like a second breakout from these guys. Like they get into the league with their incredible stuff. And then they hit that next year where it's like they get the understanding, and maybe that's what's happening for Berrios.
Dude, exactly. The understanding last year was like, my own team doesn't trust me when I'm dealing to face lefties. And but look what I've done all year. Look, I had a great September. He had an incredible July. It was like an ERA of 1.8. It was amazing. But like, he saw that that's the last adjustment I need to make to have full trust from my team and my teammates and my coaches if I can get these lefties out. And I think he's going to do it. Look, that's the bold prediction. Can he do it? We'll have to see. But if he does, he's going to be top 3 Cy Young.
Well, if he doesn't, you're going to have Bowden Francis
That's
just
right.
around those wings anyway.
Dude,
so
all these predictions, if they go right, we're going to the World Series.
Well, yeah, I got a 200 hit guy. I got 30 home runs. I got an all-star catcher. You got the best pitching rotation that the league has ever seen.
Three pitchers in the top 10 Cy Young, bro.
Yeah, if all these wild predictions happen, then this is going to be one hell of a year, folks. But let us know your thoughts about all this in the comments down below. What are some wild predictions that you have? Also, like, toss in some negative ones, too. I mean, we were obviously being overly optimistic right here, but, like, you could, take the other side of the coin, right? Who is going to suck? Who is going to get traded? Who's going to lose this year, right? Like, that could happen, too.
That could happen, guys. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and $3 a month to become a Patreon member. Shout out and thank you to all of our current Patreon members and to our YouTube members. You guys are absolutely awesome.
Thank you so much for watching.
And go Jays, go!